Hey, Americo Keach. I'm here with Samantha Slater, who's an awesome client over at Durabro Performance. She's had great results, and she's here to share a story with us and what it's like to train there. So, Samantha, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. And what I want to do is I want to set the stage. I want to step back a little bit. I want to let everybody know kind of where you were before you decided to join Durabro Performance.
Let's see, it was about 6 months before my wedding, and I was very unhappy with where I was physically, and I needed something. So I just went and did a web search for a Cambridge uh, trainer, and Durable Performance came up, and I thought, okay, well, I'll give this a try. And it took a little bit of, I don't know if willpower is the right phrase, but it took me a little bit to actually get up the courage to call and do it. And then I went in and it was great. I went from about I think it was 25% body fat to 17 before my wedding.
Okay, and
So
what was it that you were looking for, like frustrated about before you decided to join there?
well, I've been going to a gym by myself a lot, and that wasn't working because well, first off, I was pretty nervous about going to the gym and uncomfortable and
Right.
the standard stuff that a lot of people are. And secondly, I was really concerned about form. I was worried that without somebody telling me and showing me how to do things, I wasn't going to be doing the right way, and I was going to injure myself. So I was very concerned about that. So that was part of the reason it was really important to me to have a trainer because didn't want to I just didn't want to injure myself by doing what I thought was something very good, and then in the end, it does a lot more damage than it does good. So having a trainer was pretty important to that. Also, I am terrible with accountability. So when I only had myself to be accountable to, I was fine with just guilting on myself about not going and not going. So now that there are people expecting you to show up at a certain time, it was so much more helpful. And they'll call you on it if you don't show up.
Right, right. Now you said you had a wedding, so I'm guessing you also want to, get in shape for that wedding.
Yes, I did. I bought a dress that was a little bit smaller than I could actually fit into, and so knowing that, I really had a goal to meet. So um, it was it was a challenge, but it ended up, at first I wasn't sure was going to make it because, that first month of things just aren't quite getting there. But then everything fell into place. You started burning fat and getting a move on with things, and then I kind of went gangbusters. So by the time June came around, it was really good.
All right, so you went online and you searched around for this. There's lots of different places. There's all kinds of other things you could have went to. What was it about Durbro that kind of was sold you on it?
Um, I think it was well, basically she was in Cambridge, so that was a good thing. She was a woman, and that was interesting. But just the vibe from her website was good. It was very straightforward. It was very, hey, this is how it's going to be. But it was also positive. It was also like, you can do this. It's that was super helpful to see that. So for me, that was a big draw.
Okay,
So
okay. So you called her up and you went in. I'm sure. Did you do a consultation with her?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's an hour-long consultation first. Measurements and talking about where you are, what you're doing, how you're eating, et cetera, et cetera.
Were
So
Were you nervous going into that?
no, that was fine. I mean, I expected that my measurements would be less than stellar, and they were.
Okay.
Um, so and then on a one-on-one, I tended to be better, but for like the overall, it was actually going in the first time for the actual first class that I almost didn't go. I was so nervous about going in and being around all of these people I didn't know, and I already felt like I was really uncomfortable and I was really awkward and wouldn't know how to do anything and so but I forced myself to do it. I went in and it was really good. It was really good. Everybody was really laid back. They were busy with their own thing, and if they did talk to you, it was really positive. It was, chatting and being cool with things. So it was definitely less scary than I had made it out to be in my head.
Okay, so it made you feel comfortable pretty quick, like almost right off the
Yes.
bat.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, had you had or found that in the other gym or anything like that? If you were going to do maybe something similar, was it as comfortable as this type of place?
No, I not for me. Um, I prefer, well, I basically at a gym where you're just kind of going, and I feel like you should just know what you're supposed to be doing and that kind of thing, and I never did. So
Mm,
I was always very uncomfortable and just felt like I didn't fit in very well there.
okay. Now, as time went along, um, tell me about, I guess, what the atmosphere ended up being like, what the people were like, what it was like to train there.
Um, Actually, I got to know a lot of people really well. I mean, at first, everybody was basically friendly. And then as time went on and you worked out, especially because a lot of times everyone kind of finds a couple times of the week and just goes to the same ones over and over. So you really get to know the people you're working out with.
Yep.
And that's really happened to me. I've added people to my Facebook. I've hung out with people outside of the gym that I've met at the gym. I mean, it's time went on, it just became more comfortable of a place psychologically, and obviously, you become more comfortable with the physical aspects as well. Not that they become easier, but they become more comfortable because you're familiar with them. You know the right way to do them, and then all the ways to make them harder. You also
Mm,
get to learn all of those too. So
right.
it's kind of both. They both things happen in tandem. The getting comfortable psychologically while also getting comfortable physically with the situation.
Now, did you have any idea that you'd end up being comfortable at a place like this to have end up with a social atmosphere like this? Did you know that? Did you expect that?
No, I did not. It's so cool too because there's, once you get to be an adult and you're not in school anymore, you're like, where is your friend group coming from? It's either from college or it's, your work group.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. So it was so cool to have this whole group of people that is and from all different walks of life and all different businesses and all kinds of stuff, and we become friends. We become another friend group, and that's awesome.
So like,
That's just a great bonus.
is it? Would you say it's like a family?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Everybody ribs each other like family, like the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
It's absolutely like that.
Okay. So it kind of turned into a social atmosphere where you're being held accountable, where you're starting to get results. It's all the stuff you weren't expecting. You're having a great time there. Now, you went in with a few goals in mind and things like that. So what types of results did you end up seeing in the end in just training here?
I am much stronger than I've ever been, actually, and so that's kind of huge because my job entails a lot of heavy lifting and um, basically just being strong is very helpful at work. And so over the past couple of years, I have to say that things have gotten a lot more comfortable at work simply because I can, haul stuff around a lot easier,
Right.
which is awesome. So, for me, when it comes to sizes, I've stopped since I've been going to DeBro Performance. I've stopped constantly pulling out the measuring tape and measuring myself. And I never have a scale, and I won't buy one because I was actually at a friend's house last night who has a scale, and I got on it, was all disappointed, and like, no, that's not what it is. Though for me to figure out what your results are, it's how are your clothes fitting, how are you feeling, are you able, do you have endurance and stamina, do you, it's more of your overall level of health than it is, exactly what your size is and have you gotten smaller and that kind of thing. I mean, that's a nice benefit when that happens.
Right.
And I think like any normal human, I fluctuate up and down, and that's just the
Yeah.
way that it is. But overall, I've been able to maintain a really good level of health, and the gains that I see are just in my overall level of health, and also, like I said, the strength. It's awesome to be strong. I mean, let's be honest. It's really cool to be able to lift very heavy things, and I'm stronger than my husband. I love him, but I'm stronger than him. He admits it. It's true.
How does it make you feel knowing that you've received all these results?
I'm I love it. I couldn't imagine not doing this anymore. I mean, this is like I wish I'd done this 10 years ago. This is so awesome.
Okay. Now, would you say that this is something that's been life changing, changed your life?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, there could be somebody who's watching this, a very similar situation. You know, they could be maybe coming up in a wedding or very similar situation to yours, and they hear about your story and they say, this place is pretty cool, but they might be on the fence thinking about joining. What would you want to say to somebody who is on the fence?
I would suggest just coming in and checking out the dynamic. They're pretty cool with people just coming in for a trial. Come in, have a go, hang out, do one class, see how people interact with each other, see how the trainers interact with the people there. I think that if people do that, they're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be a very different environment than they've ever experienced. At least in my experience, that's been how it's turned out to be. And it's been so positive.
Okay. Now let's just shift gears. I've got a few more questions for you. I want to talk about the trainers themselves, because obviously you'd come from a place before, right? You were looking for accountability, and you know you just worried about technique and things like this. So, in terms of the trainers, right? You can go to any trainer; they can show you how to work out and do all these things. But what type of people are these trainers? Maybe a few words or phrases on that.
I'd say that they are driven, they are supportive, and they're definitely down to earth. They're just really, really cool. And I think that all three of those things really match well together. So, I mean, they can be very supportive of you, but they're also going to push you. They're very good at recognizing when it's gone from I don't want to do this because it isn't comfortable to I can't do this because I'm in pain. So they're never going to push you to the point where you can't go, but they're very good at knowing how to get you to where you need to be, where you can go, and that's really important. And I love that about them. And at the same time, they're just really regular old folks. I mean, you can just have a normal conversation with them while you're in the middle of doing push-ups. It's great.
Do they care about you?
Very much. I mean, there's like I mentioned earlier, there are so many times when I know that they've texted people or emailed people because they haven't seen them in a little while or they haven't, heard from them. And your fellow workouters, clients, etc., they also care about people. I mean, they'll bring up and ask the trainers, like, where's so and so? Have you seen so and so? And so it's not just the trainers that are holding you accountable; it's everybody else too. And it's not accountable in like a mean, oh my gosh way. It's a really care. Everybody cares about where you're at, how things are doing. Are you okay? If you haven't showed up for 2 weeks, people are going to start asking questions. They're going to be concerned.
And how does it make you feel knowing that you actually have trainers who really do care and not just there to kind of I guess yell at you or maybe get results, try and get you results?
It's fantastic because they are. I mean, I consider them friends. They're my friends. I get to learn from them, which is fantastic. So you're dealing with people who have this wonderful base of knowledge that they are desperate to share, and they're happy to do it, and it's just an enjoyable experience all the way around.
Okay. And now I have the last question for you. So you've had great results. You've got a new social circle. You enjoy going there. What if, let's say, Durbro decided to just shut down and they decided to move away, Callie and everybody there, and this would be the last time you would ever see or could ever say anything to them? What would you want to say?
I would say thank you. This has been such a major shift for me. It's benefited my life so much. I would not be happy that they were
Yeah.
disappearing and that I would have to come up with something new, but they've given me so much that I feel like I could even go out and appropriately find another venue for training or whatnot if for whatever horrible reason I could no longer go to DeBrow. But I think that they should know that, and I'm not far from the only one. I'm far from the only one who thinks that this is just the best thing, and that I'm so grateful, so grateful.
Awesome. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it, and I want to wish you the best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Bye.